Good evening, children. This is a new episode of Representing in Multiversus. Today, I'd like to show you all about an amazing, iconic horror character. If you've read the title or seen the thumbnail, you already know who this is. But for those of you who somehow stumbled upon this episode without seeing either of those, you're in for a treat. So welcome to the Halloween Not Clickbait Special, Part 2. So I know, he's not a Halloween character. It's a Christmas movie. It takes place during Christmas. Santa Claus is in it. Okay? I know. But skeletons are Halloween. Everything in that movie is in Halloween Town. So without further ado, let's get to Jack Skellington.
Let's start with his passive ability. He will be able to, while ignited, have more powerful attacks. This comes at a cost because, of course, while ignited, you will be dealt damage. So, you might not want to do it all the time, but if you think it will help, you can certainly be ignited by another opponent. Or, if you have a teammate that can do it as well, you can be ignited by their own fire. You have to stay in the fire for far longer than normal for you to be ignited, though, if it's from your teammate. Let's go ahead and get started with the neutral special, which is Scream. He will scream in front of him, putting a radius around his head that if an opponent enters will start increasing the points towards being frightened. There's 5 points in total, and once they are all given to an opponent, it will freeze them in place, similarly to Bugs' Charmed ability. Once they aren't being given to an opponent, they do start to decrease. If Jack is knocked out while someone has this ability on them, it will stay on them instead of being taken away. If you have 2 Jacks on your team, they will both contribute to the same stacked points. So if you have 2 doing it at once, it will go double as fast. This move is the same in the air and on the ground. For Jack's side special, he will pull out a Santa sack and grab an opponent. This will work like Jake's neutral special or Taz's neutral special, where he will grab the opponent. However, with this, Jack retains most of his mobility. He cannot jump, but he is just as fast and can dodge while in this state. You can walk anywhere you want and throw them out whenever you want. But of course, the opponent can mash any buttons to try and get out faster. You can throw them at any angle, and if you throw them down, it can spike them at a 3% chance. So it's very unlikely, but it can happen. This move is the same in the air and on the ground, except for in the air, it comes out a lot slower. About 50% slower, in fact. For Jack's up special, he will use the dog Zero from the movie. If he's in the air, he will simply grab onto the dog and it will shoot him up into the air. There is only a small point on the tip of the dog's nose that actually deals damage. It deals a lot, though, so do watch out for that. The rest of the entire move will do nothing and leaves Jack open for attacks. If he's on the ground, he will simply pull out Zero and will shine a light around him. The entire light does damage, not just the nose. But the nose is a stronger point, so do not get hit by that. For his down special, it will work a lot like Harley Quinn's Jack-in-the-Box move, where he will place a present down. This will work on the ground or in the air, and wherever he places it, it will fall
to the ground or off stage. It is set on a timer instead of being fully reliant on someone touching it, and it will explode, sending bats flying out everywhere. If someone touches this move before the timer is off, they can simply break it like Bugs' safe. So do watch out for that. It has less health than the safe, but does a lot more damage when exploding.
This our town of Halloween. This is Halloween. This is Halloween.
Now onto the attacks. For his neutral attack, he will do a charged punch, where he will spin around a couple of times after punching. But when he spins, it's determined by how long you hold the charge for. So if it's fully charged, he will spin 4 times, and if it's just not charged at all, he simply won't spin at all. If you're in the air, he will put his foot out while doing it, and will have a little bit more area in front and behind him while spinning. You can't charge it in the air, so he will always spin 1 time. For his side attack, he will simply do a kick, but if you're in the air, he will do a side kick, which will send him slightly to the left or right, depending on which way you do it. This is a very fast move, but it's pretty not good damage-wise either. It can do a lot of knockback if you're standing on the ground, but in the air, seeing that you're moving a lot while doing it, you actually don't get much of any use out of it in terms of attack damage or knockback. For Jack's up attack, he will do an uppercut. This will have a slow ramp up and will look like this, but while he's in the air, he will spread snowflakes all above him. This will have a lot of range, but do very little damage and very little knockback, since the range is so big in front of him. And the flakes will fall, doing damage on the way down as well. More like with the bats in the bat cave, where they're still allowed to move and do attacks and whatnot. For his down attack, he will simply do the splits and spin in place. While doing this, however, you can move back and forth, and the momentum will stay, so if you're moving quite fast in one direction and try to turn around, he will have to slow down and turn back around, starting up slowly. If you're in the air and do a down attack, he will obviously have to spike the opponent, and he will do so with his Santa Sack. This will do very little damage, but a lot of knockback with the spike.
This is Halloween. This is Halloween.
For his first signature perk, I've called it the Pumpkin King, which is a reference to his alias. While using this perk, he will not be damaged while ignited. This does a lot for him because it allows him to have higher damage while ignited, but no damage will be dealt to him. For his second and final signature perk, I've called it the Bag of Goodies. This perk allows him to carry an opponent for longer, and when they're launched out, he has a higher chance of spiking them when shooting them down. This will also affect his down attack while in the air, and will do more damage and knockback for that move as well.
So I hope you enjoyed this visit of yours to this video. But me and my child will be off now. We'll see you later.